Johnny Fontana, Real World NF Scorpio, back with another video.
You have to be one of the folks who goes out and spreads the holy word of truth. It's not enough for you to email arcane things like, oh, did you see so-and-so? Did you hear? Did you see this connection to... A connection that has no bearing on the real world is a waste of time. It is your job to go out and spread the word. You are a truth warrior. It is not about you just enjoying yourself.
Before I begin this, I need to provide some perspective, right? Just some context, lay some things out. So I want you to check this out, right? This is just a random search with filter that I did yesterday with regards to INFJ videos, right? Like I said, I don't go into other videos which are not INFJ related. When it comes to MBTI, obviously I visit other YouTube channels that sort of interest me, but when it comes to MBTI, I don't go to others because I just don't have any interest, right, in learning from other MBTI types, because I feel that as an INFJ, I want to sort of subscribe to our own ways of thinking and assessing certain perspectives and social issues, right? So, do a quick filter scan, and what do I see? Again, right? So we're gonna go into it, okay? We're gonna get into it, but again, I also need to provide a little perspective here with regards to the points that I will break in order to sort of reiterate my discussion points. All right, clip one, go.
The Cult of the Amateur is a book which explodes the idea that the internet enables anyone to become a professional creative artist. It argues that whilst the internet enables everyone to express themselves on the internet, there's no doubt about that, the cultural consequences, the economic consequences are dire. It undermines professional media and doesn't replace it with anything really. It's like Twitter. Millions of messages every minute, some which are legitimate, some which are interesting, the majority which are narcissistic. And no one knows what to believe. No one knows what's happening in the world. The old media world, which was controlled from above, the industrial media ecosystem, was very good at informing citizens about what was happening in the world. The democratized media of the internet doesn't do that. It creates chaos. It gives all of us a platform to express ourselves. It's great for that, and it's very exciting, and I do it as much as anyone else. But for the consumer of information, for the consumer of news, they leave this media more confused than when they started.
Okay, and the reason why I say that is because it's very important, because again, I'm going to break points and I'm going to reiterate certain things, but I don't want people to misconstrue or misperceive me as undermining anyone.
And that is dichotomous thinking, also known as splitting. Dichotomous thinking means black and white, evil and good, right and wrong, enemy and friend, and so on. Dividing the world along two axes. And this, of course, doesn't encourage sensitivity to nuances and subtleties and so on. And it's also a narcissistic thing.
So, obviously, this is a response to Jocko van der Meer, right? He made a video about fake personalities. Now, there is no way, shape, or form do I disagree with what he said as a whole, right? That's not where I'm going here. Where I'm going here in particular is the nuance, right? Is the ability to sort of dissect, figure out, okay, what's happening, and take it beyond that immediate space. We talk about fake personalities. I myself, I don't relate to anyone as being fake. I more so relate to them as being underdeveloped. And I think that the majority of online INFJs are underdeveloped and are in the matrix in some shape or form. I was in the matrix myself, right? But again, there comes a point where we evolve. Why? Because we connect dots. We put ourselves into situations and we start to realize and to sort of put things into context. Because again, we cannot be walking paradoxes but yet not employ, right, our own theories and our own prescriptions. So if we say, oh, I can walk into a room, I can see and feel certain things based on observations, the way that the lip moves and all this stuff, right? Again, it's not through osmosis.
Our inner hormonal environment is actually mostly regulated via human interaction. When I say human interaction, I mean face to face. We know, again, it's been established in study. I don't want to render this an academic session, but we know, for example, that when two people meet, they emit in a variety of ways, pheromones, smells, and so on. They emit 100 items of information. They transmit 100 items of information which are immediately absorbed by the other person. This information includes all the genetic knowledge about the person, everything about the immune system of the other person, and numerous other data. So we constantly communicate when we meet other people, even if we don't say a word, even if via body language, via pheromones, via smells, via sweat, and this is missing in social media. Obviously.
So extensive social media usage indirectly could lead to real biological endocrinal problems where your hormones become out of balance or flat.
Well, if not out of balance, then out of usage or out of practice, in effect. So
simultaneously, we cannot just walk into a YouTube platform and not come to terms with the disintegration of the actual culture of what is known as mbti, INFJ in particular. You see what I'm saying to you? So for me, it's not necessarily, again, calling people out as fakes. It's more so being underdeveloped, because as Jacko says, he doesn't identify with an INFJ because of the whole chameleon effect and all that. So guess what? Can you really say that you're fake? No, you're just underdeveloped. Because why? Because if you are not an INFJ, you should be able to evolve. You should be able to connect dots. You should be able to go beyond the sticky points of function this, 5 type this, 7 signs this, the INFJ stare, and all of that. You should go beyond that. There comes a point where we go. However,
but now they're faced with a unique situation. Who will certify? There is an issue of certification. Who will certify that they're experts? How can they prove that they're intellectuals? So what they did, they found areas of knowledge where you can become instant expert. For example, if I ask you to be an expert or an intellectual in nuclear physics or astrophysics, it might take you a while. And really don't be offended, but I doubt very much if you'll make it.
I'm not offended.
Right. But if I ask you to become an expert on football, it'll take you a month. If you're very slow. And if I ask you to become an expert on astrology, a week. Suddenly, fields of knowledge which allowed you to claim verifiably and truthfully that you're an expert within a month or a week came to prominence. If you go to discussion boards of astrology, you will find 3 million people, 5 million people, and I'm exaggerating not. If you go to discussion boards of nuclear physics, you'd be lucky to find 800. People go to these boards of astrology. Why? Because each and every single one of them claims to be an expert. I'm making natal charts. I discovered this. The conjunction of Uranus with I don't know who. I mean, they're all experts. And you know what? When you analyze what they're writing, they are experts. Because astrology requires a week.
Right.
They are real experts.
Yeah.
And people who are experts on British football, they are real experts. They will tell you what Chelsea did and what Manchester did and United Manchester, and they really know what they're talking about. So suddenly these fields, pseudoscience, occult, sports, they became prominent. No one talks anymore about physics, because these fields allow you to feel good, allow you to feel like real experts. And
Jacko has his first video, and he now has amassed 1,000 viewers. Okay, 1.1 thousand since I watched it yesterday. But again, remember the video, the context that I provided. I'm not trying to count his numbers. It's not about me being jealous. It's not me trying to undermine him and saying, oh, well, he has more numbers and he has more followers and subscribers and in such a short time. And I've been in the game since, 2016 as a YouTuber with an mbti, and I have, only less than 200 subscribers, okay? But again, we can be walking paradoxes, but again, we have to be true to form. As an INFJ, how many true friends do you have? How many true associates do you have? How many times when people come over to your home, are you ready to kick them out? Even for me, I'm ready to kick my mother out after she's been there for 2 days. But yet, we're going to keep constant contact every day with a bunch of strangers. And we're going to be okay with that. And I'm going to be jealous of someone who has all of that to deal with. Not me, not I, said the blind man. But again, the paradox, the dissonance is heavy in this room, right? So what do I want in the MBTI frame? When it comes to DJ, I have about 3,000 subscribers. But again, it's different because again, I'm coming from a expert perspective, right? I'm providing teachings, in an environment in which people are absorbing knowledge so that they can use onto themselves. I'm not providing self-awareness or anything else that has to do with self-help. But within the MBTI, INFJ, that's all you have. Everything is self-reflect, everything is within the immediate space, and nothing is casted outward. There's no outward projection, okay? So I don't want to be around a whole bunch of people who are just telling me how I'm thinking and me spot on. Yeah, you hit the nail you hit the nail on the head. That's exactly what I was talking about. That's exactly what, I'm feeling. You are so spot on. Again, because it's that validation. It's just that need to feel, hey, you agree, I agree with you. You know exactly what I'm talking about. Because again, it's fundamentally, we need to just be around people who are like us, and then we need to be able to validate our feelings. And once we come into MBTI, we feel a certain way. I get it. There's no problem with that. But again, we talk about the evolution, right? So when you go online to every single platform, whether it be Facebook, INFJ.com, Personality Cafe, YouTube, Reddit, INFJ's 30 and over. You're met with the memes. You're met with the I just realized that I'm an I'm a highly sensitive person, and identify with this, and then all the sob stories, and I get it. There's nothing wrong with that. But again, it's like I'm 42 years old. At one point in time, am I going to have to continue? I've had to come to terms with something, especially if I have kids, if I have to deal with my daily obligations, right? So this is not schooling my subscribers or people who follow me. Obviously, this is not. Because I know you guys don't really subscribe to that train of thought, but I'm just providing perspective for the later things that I have to say.
This is not about some feature that we provide. We live this. This is who we are. It's very, very serious to us. We're not just kidding around. You have to be one of the folks who goes out and spreads the holy word of truth. I want to say this. I'm not kidding about this. You cannot spend your life alone enjoying Q and talking to your friends and responding inside, not the bubble, but inside the tent. It's not going to work. It's not enough for you to email arcane things like, oh, did you see so-and-so? Did you hear? Did you see this connection to... A connection that has no bearing on the real world is a waste of time. It is your job to go out and spread the word. You are a truth warrior. It is not about you just enjoying yourself with saying, who has the latest arcane reference? Hey, there's this new guy. Hey, guys, there's this new guy that I found who has the best. Please. Don't ever like me, like the subject matter. I'm dead serious. Please don't ever say, oh, this guy, he's this, or what the hell is this? This guy is this or that. No. It's not about that. It's about the subject matter. Because that's what I want people to do.
And again, it's just basically like putting things into perspective. But again, it's like at a 42-year-old, where am I supposed to go? Like, okay, like I've gone through that phase, but now that I'm trying to look for more information, I go through every online resource and it's always the same thing. It's always people who are stuck in the past, who are dealing with issues. And it's like you try to go into there and it's like, dude, like I get it. I was there, but can we find a way to actually talk about and discuss, profound things such as this?
I think one thing that's neglected when we consider social media is by whom social media was created. Mm-hmm. Why am I telling you this? Mm-hmm. Because social media was created by a very well-defined profile. It was all social media were invented by men. Mm-hmm. There was not a single woman involved. Okay. All social media were invented by schizoids, recluses, hermits, people who were socially inept. All social media were invented by nerds. Mm. Most of these men, later on, when we read biographies and so on, we realized that they were asexual or with very low sexual activity. Mm-hmm. So the profile of the men who invented social media, and we're talking about all these men, is very, very, very narrowly defined. Mm-hmm. They created social media in their own image, of course. Since they were asexual, asocial, schizoid, white men, they created a tool which was geared towards asexual, asocial, schizoid, white men. And then what happened to this tool, to their utter surprise, for example, you can read Zuckerberg's articles and so on, to their utter shock, it took off. And it started to cater to black men and black women and very sexual people and asexual people and social people. It started to cater to population groups which were totally out of sync with the nature and character of the technology.
Right.
And I think we are witnessing this conflict. The technology is designed for a highly specific psychological profile. Okay. And yet it is being used, abused, and misused by other psychological profile, and this creates dissonance. Mm. The technology has inbuilt dissonance, and I think we are feeling this dissonance a lot.
You see what I'm saying to you? Like I want to listen to that. I want to hear that. I want to be able to sort of spark interest and have, mature and refined debate with my peers. That being said, when you go on to Jocko's first video, it has to do with in the year 2030, the majority of CEOs will be introverts, right? And he goes on to explain, why that is, and he gives perspective, okay, which I found to be very interesting and some of the information that I did not know. So it gave me pause and it was like, oh, wow, that's actually pretty good. However, and this is now for his subscribers and for those who are thinking about following him. Again, perspective.
That's why I think narcissism is the future of humanity. Mm-hmm. As a main tool. As narcissism emerged as the main way to form your identity by being seen, by being recognized, by being acknowledged, by being admired, by being adulated, by getting likes. As narcissism emerged.
So this happened to me, literally, this happened to me 2 days ago. And I want to share this with you because I feel like I share a lot of things with you, and you guys are, some of you have been walking this journey on YouTube with me for a long time, since I've started beginning. 2 days ago, 3 days ago, I actually started getting my first hate comments. Comments where people attack me personally on my YouTube channel. So these comments got me so crippled. I felt so bad. I felt so bad that I couldn't shot a video. I couldn't record a video. I felt like, I literally, this is gonna sound crazy coming from a guy who makes a YouTube channel. I know that every YouTube channel, every successful YouTube channel, guy or girl struggles with hate comments. So I knew that was coming, but still it affected me.
And this is what social media is threatening you with. If you want to belong, this is what you have to do. Do it. Be aggressive. Be split. Dumb down. Don't be intellectual. Dumb down. Keep it simple, stupid. I mean, they don't tell, I mean, there's no manual how to be popular.
It's coercive.
Trial and error. Trial and error. Yeah, because listen, we are social animals. The most terrifying thing for us is not to have food, not to be in pain. Pain doesn't frighten us. Food doesn't frighten us. The weather doesn't frighten us. The most frightening thing for any of us is to be ostracized, to be excommunicated, not to belong. It's absolutely by far the most frightening thing. We can look at history. People prefer to die just not to leave the community. The biggest weapon of the Catholic Church for 400 years was not burning on the stake, auto da fe. It was excommunication. The worst heretics were left to live, but they were excommunicated. When Benedict Spinoza, attacked the Jewish perception of God, when he attacked the concept of God in Judaism, he was not killed, he was not stoned as the Talmud dictates. He was simply excommunicated, that's all. He was thrown out of the community.
Something for you to think about. 500 subscribers in 2 months, 1,000 subscribers in 4 months. Yet that first video has 129 views. Again, I'm not counting views. That's probably more views than this video will even get. Okay? So I'm not counting views. I have the machine downstairs making noise. So anyway, I'm not counting views. What I'm saying though, if there's high context, all right? Let's play the high context thing here, because I don't want to reveal it so fast, because I don't want to just give it to you, okay? 1,000 subscribers. That video has, that thing is so annoying. 1,000 subscribers. 129 views for that video. Yet, all his subsequent videos have to do with the 5 this and 5 that and the INFJ stare and all this stuff and the victimhood and narcissism and all that stuff, right? With regards to, with self-reflect, right? Not necessarily like providing profound, substance, but more having to do with him being an expert on telling you how to live, how to behave, and what you're feeling, right? So that you can come back and be like, oh man, I couldn't wait for you to make that video because I need my daily dose of Jacko, right?
Social media enhances like-minded, what we call bubbles, enhances like-minded people. So, for example, politics. Social media, you will gravitate in social media to people who think like you, agree with you. You will read only news stories that agree with you. You will never read anything that disagrees with you, challenges you.
It feeds you that. The social media feeds back that which it knows you're going to look at, right?
So this is called bubble. So
again, INFJs, I'm surprised that we need a daily dose of somebody in our lives. But that's just me speaking as an INFJ, okay? But nonetheless, how do you go from 1,000 subscribers to now everyone watching your 5 this and your 5 that, but yet probably the most profound video, which has more to do with the external landscape of society, right? And speaking in future wise, than it does have to do with the internal and immediate spaces surrounding the emotions and the characteristic traits of INFJs.
If I am stupid, I have more likes. Yeah. The stupider I am, the more likes I have. The more scarce or sparse the content, the more likes I have. Yeah. If I put a banana peel, I will get more likes than if I put Aristotle's quote. Yeah. If I don't use long words, I will be more popular. If I don't pretend that I know something, or if I don't tell people that I know something, I'll be. So you dumb down. One of the things it does is it forces you to hide your true identity. Social media forces you to become not you, to deny critical aspects of you. If you're intelligent, you have to deny that. If you are empathic, you have to deny that. If you're compassionate, you have to deny that. If you are, so it forces you to conform to some kind of ideal that is essentially aggressive, regressive, infantile, and in one word, narcissist.
Narcissistic psychopath.
Yes.
I'm not proud, but I'll say it. I watched a YouTube video that was talking about promoting yourself on social media, and it advertised, it said there's a thing that you should do, and if you're traveling, you should take a selfie of yourself and show people that you're on a plane. And I was like, that is the dumbest, most narcissistic and pointless fucking thing I could do with a smartphone. I tried it the next day. The most likes I've ever had in a post. And then you saw me repeat that again and again and again. People loved it.
Yeah,
I'm like,
1,000 likes.
it's not a picture of anything. It's just my stupid face on a plane.
That's a highly sophisticated intellectual statement compared to some other things.
Right? But yet, those videos get more likes. And guess what? 1,000 subscribers, you haven't gone back to his first video? I did it because, again, I'm an INFJ. I am curious. I want to know, what does this person have to provide? What are you selling? So I'm going to click on that particular video, on your first video. That has nothing to do with you telling me who I am, because, again, I'm 42 years old. I am mostly certain that most of, again, me having all of my experiences, me dealing as an INFJ, not just a common person, but me understanding and being able to navigate through my early stages of my FE and then my NI and then learning all of this stuff, right? And having to be exposed to so many different people in the military, people in business, people in the fitness industry, people in the music industry, people in the federal industry. I think by 42, I sort of have an idea of how I'm feeling, of why I'm feeling a certain way. And I think a 20-year-old, 20-something-year-old, I don't know if you're going to give me anything more than that, okay? But if you provide me information with regards to CEOs, then yes, then I'll listen to that. But when it comes to my inner conflicts and so forth, I think I have it down pat. So I'm going to listen to something else that's beyond that. And not only that, I don't want to stay in that space of like, oh man, like I need to know, like, because again, the information that you provide when people comment, it's not like, oh dude, that was perfect. I really didn't realize that about myself. It's more of like, you're spot on. This is exactly how I feel. So why am I going to sit in a world of me validating my own consciousness? I don't want to. I want to learn something from you. That's something that is new, that I haven't thought about before. That's new perspective, which was that first video. But yet that video has only 129 views compared to the other ones. Again, and then now he makes his last video for 2019. He'll be back the 1st of January. And he wants, again, people to provide him questions and topics for discussion so that he can impart his wisdom and knowledge onto them. Okay? Again, I don't do that. Okay, that's one thing I do not do. I may give perspective, and I always say this is not to teach you. This is not to sort of like, tell you how to live your life. This is not self-help. This is context, perspective so that you can take that information and then you can attach it to other experiences in your life and then you can apply it everywhere else. But this whole idea of me telling you how to pick yourself up and all this stuff, I've done that, especially online, and I realize it's not working. Why? Because
as narcissism emerged that way, there were winners and losers. Everyone wanted to be a narcissist. Everyone wanted to be a narcissist. But some people are much better qualified, much better geared, much better constructed to be narcissists. And they became the classic narcissist. And others collapsed, others failed. And so they feel victimized. They feel they have lost the war. What does it mean, having lost this game of narcissism? Their identity has been challenged. They no longer had a coherent identity. They latched on the first possible identity, victim. So it's dreadful. I must have an identity. I mean, I try to be a narcissist, I fail. What can I be? So what can I be is victim.
I'm the victim of a narcissist.
I'm a victim of a narcissist. The world now is divided into narcissists and victims of narcissists, essentially. Even classic conflicts such as black and white, if you read the literature, it's narcissism and victims of narcissistic abuse. I mean, utterly. So victimhood has become the second best identity possible. Like we have a rung of a ladder of identities. You can't be a narcissist, you can be a victim of narcissism. And in this sense, this ameliorated the identity crisis because these people still ended up with some identity. This is why they defend their victimhood so ferociously. Not only because of entitlement and this, but because it endows them with identity, with meaning.
okay, and I realized that every time I said it, I tried. They're like, go away, we need a place to heal. And then, okay, and I would try to figure out why. But again, after researching people beyond INFJ, I don't even know what MBTI type Sam Vaknin is, but I know that he's providing more profound information than INFJs, which they should be, because again, they should be painting pictures.
But really, seriously, the Romans called them vademecum. Come with me. Come with me, I'll show you. I'll show you the agora, I'll show you the temples, I will show you the statues, I will show you. And then I will tell you, listen, my favorite is this palace, Pallas Athena. That's my favorite. But first I will show you everything. So this is the public entry. He's a vademecum. Come with me. He has to take you by the hand and lead you and show you everything. Panorama of human knowledge, human opinion, human history, even in politics you have depth.
Yes.
I mean, you have. And of course, all ideologies are forms of philosophy. They're grounded in thousands, usually, of years. Even the most recent ideologies are grounded in thousands of years. It is the role of the public intellectual to expose these roots. To tell you, listen, this ideology in the 19th century was like that, in the 17th was like that, in the 12th was like that. That's his role. His role is to familiarize the world to you. Make you familiar with the world. Make you at home in the world. Today, public intellectuals, because they're first celebrities, concerned with views, concerned with money, concerned with... They do exactly opposite. They enhance your anxiety.
Right? But unfortunately, we're stuck with the 5 this, 7 this, and that's what's available to us. Dumbing down the INFJ community. And that's why 99% of y'all, not my subscribers, but the ones who are watching that are not, and they're not interested in this part, will remain in the matrix. Johnny Fontana, Real World NF Scorpio, we out.